Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the Grave Consequences podcast. I am Caleb B. That's where you can follow me on Twitter. Follow Greg at xmaserati. Follow the show at gc_cast. Hit up our Gmail, graveconsequencespodcast@gmail.com. The recording date is May 3rd. May 3rd, folks. And let's see here. We are here to review Season 1, Episode 38 of Lucha Underground. The title is Ultima Lucha, Part 1.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to give it a alternate title of any sort. I think we're going to keep the next two episodes just the same, Ultima Lucha and Ultima Lucha Part 2.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So, Greg, let's see here. Monday night, don't want to do too much preamble because, we did a lot of preamble on, I told you this off air, the Hellboy episode we tried to record, did over like an hour worth of audio, and none of it recorded somehow.
I mean, I think I told you this, but I'm so sick of the scheduling issues we're having, and not because of anyone's fault, because it's just because my schedule's shit. Like this week I'm on call, and we just have the opposite schedule of each other. Like you work nights and weekends, I work weekdays.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to be on Hellboy. I wanted to be on. I wanted to, like, I'm not just saying it. Like I wanted to be on these episodes. I just can't commit to anything. Like I wanted to be on the League. You're doing the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. There's been a lot of movies you reviewed that I could have been on your show, but I couldn't.
Yeah, no, and we want to have you back on for sure, but things have to work out, and we can't necessarily, no offense to anyone who guests on the show, we value anyone who will show up, but we can't necessarily move heaven and earth to get people on the show, because if so, we may not have a show week to week.
Oh, no doubt. I'm just saying, I wish I could be on the schedule you got. I wish I could be more available.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Well,
I love superhero movies.
The trick is me winning the lotto, like Mega Million Jackpot, and moving us three into a house to where we can podcast together all the time.
I would just take some money so I could quit my job, and then I would just do Skype with you.
Yes, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. So, folks, we are here. We're finally here. Part 1 of the season finale. We see Dario Cueto in the back, and he's asking a caged Black Lotus if she wants champagne. And she kind of pretty much hates that offer. And Dario goes on to talk about his brother, and he talks about how, Matanza may be a pit bull, but pit bulls aren't dangerous by nature. And Dario then claims that El Dragon Azteca was actually responsible for the death of Black Lotus's parents.
Quite a twist. And you know what? I gotta say, Dario's show, he just shows up downstairs in his prison, in his arena, that we've already established that every, authority figure in wrestling, like Bubba Ray Dudley, he had a prison underneath Ring of Honor.
Yep.
This dude came down in a tux, right?
Yeah.
With some bubbly. And there's some logistical questions I have that, you can't have these questions when you're a wrestling fan, but what's he planning on doing with her? He's not the law. Is he just going to keep her in jail forever? Is he going to kill her? It's been a long season.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Who knows, man? These are great questions. But, okay, so even, watching this first watch, and, whether or not it's BS or not, we'll find out. But, when Dario was like, oh, yeah, El Dragon Azteca is actually the reason your parents are dead. I never bought that. I was like, oh, so Dario Cueto's just lying to people again. That's cool.
Should we, I think I know, and this is my memory, so I think I know the answer. Should I spoil it? Or should I keep it to myself?
Yeah, keep it to yourself.
Okay, yeah. Part of me is not invested at all anyway, but it is kind of like this isn't spoiling it, but it's kind of like, oh, okay, you've kept me in prison for so long, and now you're telling me Matanza didn't do it. Yeah. Would you buy it?
If that's the case, why am I in prison? In the first place, why are you so obsessed with, why is me being here a problem? What's the, if your brother is not responsible for my parents' death, you can just tell me that,
Well, and then let's say you killed my family, and then I find you, and you're like, oh, I didn't kill your family. It was, and let's say One Nation Radio trained me to be a warrior, right?
Oh, by the way,
and then you capture me, and you're like, oh, they're the ones that actually did it. Am I just going to stop believing what I've believed forever with no evidence?
Who knows? Oh, by the way, folks, we are Keeping It Strong Style's favorite podcast.
It's true. I'm glad you added that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Young boy loves us. The boss loves us. Everyone loves us, man. Oh, and Dario adds that Matanza may be a pit bull, but El Dragon Azteca is a snake.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he did do it. I'm not saying either way. I'm just saying it's kind of they're kind of dropping this bombshell on us pretty late in the season.
Okay, look, first off, Dario Cueto clearly has no scruples. Also, Dario Cueto, he's a promoter. They lie by nature. So I'm saying I don't buy it.
Well, one, how dare you? But number two, I don't have anything to add to that.
So Sergio Arrua plays us in, and Melissa Santos welcomes us to Ultima Lucha. We are finally here. And okay, first things first, I love the match posters hanging on the walls of the temple. I thought that was a very nice touch. It reminds me of the banners at WrestleMania 22.
It's a very nice aesthetic touch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do you remember those banners from WrestleMania 22 they put up in the rafters of like, oh, hey, here's the McMahons, here's Triple H, here's Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, so on and so forth.
What year was WrestleMania 22?
06. That was right after Eddie died.
Yeah, I wasn't watching.
Wow, lame-o.
Yeah, I stopped watching in 2004, bro. I told you.
You told me that, yeah. But hey, first match of the night, Falls Count Anywhere, Cage and the Mack. What a freaking match, dude.
Dude, this could have been a main event. This match was, and I was barely just breaking the fourth wall. Like I've been on call. I've been stressed with work, and I wasn't really feeling like watching it. I just had to watch it so I could prepare for the show. And this match could have been a main event. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a hardcore match. I guess it was a Falls Count Anywhere match. For some reason in my head, I thought it was the best 2 out of 3, but it's a Falls Count Anywhere match, and they were doing some basic moves, but in an environment that was much different. Like the bleachers were wooden, so they would take backdrops on it, which looked like they sucked.
Yeah,
they were. I think Cage got tackled through a wall at one point.
Yeah,
or a door.
Through a door.
There was a lot of great hardcore spots that didn't involve like thumbtacks and like weapons per se. At first, it was just like people slamming each other into walls, through walls, through ceilings, and it was the momentum of the previous matches kind of flowed into this. It's almost like they never stopped brawling from the last time we saw them. So this doesn't just start off like a regular match. It starts off like they've like a blood feud should, just a brawl, like a fight, and it's already at like a 10 in intensity between these two.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, by the way, Cage at one point grabs an extinguisher, and I remember for some reason, okay, look, the Mack, he is a dark-skinned gentleman. And when powder from a fire extinguisher lands on a dark-skinned gentleman, it just pops me for some reason.
Am I going to have to edit this out?
No.
Okay.
Why would you?
I don't know. I'm born in the 80s. I have to check.
I'm being factual here. Like, the Mack is very dark complected.
Well, we'll find out. We're in the last 2 episodes, so I'm sure someone will tell us.
No one listens to this show anyway, dude.
Fair enough.
Cage at one point hits Willie Mack over the head with a stop sign.
This is when the weapons come into play, and my favorite part is when, and I think this is shortly after the change where the Mack slowly starts transforming into Stone Cold, and I get it seemed like it was definitely something he wanted to do.
Yes, for sure. By the way, Willie Mack, I made the comparison before in size. Kind of reminded me of Prince Fielder, baseball player. He channels his inner Prince Fielder with the swing of a board.
I missed the board spot.
Nice. Oh, Mack also hits Cage with a cooler.
That was awesome.
Mack hits the stunner, and he spits out beer as he hits the stunner. It was awesome.
Yeah, he basically And this is the first time I think we've seen him do a stunner. Am I right? Or has he done it
I
before?
believe you are right. Yes, sir.
If he's done it before, it might have been on some scrubs in a battle royal that I missed. Maybe he did a stunner there. But this is when he starts like drinking beer, stunning people. And he even, my favorite spot is when he broke a bottle over Cage's head.
Oh, yeah, because it kind of goes back to, oddly enough, great storytelling here, long-term storytelling here at the Temple. One of the first Cage vignettes, he's beating up like 3 different people. Someone hits him with a bottle over the head, and Cage no-sells it.
He's not a man.
He's a machine. Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, the bottle doesn't affect Cage either here for whatever reason. A suplex through the table to the outside, only 2. A spine buster onto a can for 2. That's what I wrote down.
Yeah, you're right. That was a thing.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the finish comes when I believe they're up on the roof above Dario's office, or maybe just on a pillar adjacent to it.
Yeah, it's like where Angelico does his crossbodies from.
Oh, yes. You were right, sir. But the finish comes here when Cage curb stomps Willie Mack through a cinder block, and that gets Cage to the win.
And you know what? I'm glad you got to the end, because this is the most important part I wanted to say about this match, is because the momentum started so high, and the previous momentum was, they would fight tooth and nail, but Mack would always roll them up with a pin. Mack threw everything he could at Cage, and he couldn't pin him this time. And there was bigger high spots in any of the other matches. Mm-hmm. So this made Cage look really strong, because hey, a simple pin's not working this time, and everything he throws at Cage won't pin him until Cage finally takes him out with the cinder block. And you know what? That made Mack look strong, because he also had to endure a lot. So this was a match that, like, the momentum, it didn't matter who won or lost, because it took a cinder block to beat someone. And all the spots were so much better, or so much higher, so much more hardcore sometimes, that this just made both guys look better. Just all around.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like, they didn't have to 50-50 book it. Cage was the clear winner here, but both men look strong in the process, so that's good booking.
Incredibly good. Like, this is a kind of sometimes in wrestling, when there's a guy going against another guy, it's like the loser automatically is kind of buried to people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they're done. Their momentum's cut off. But this feud did like what a perfect feud should, where it just keeps escalating and escalating. And by the time they get to the blood feud end, both guys are pretty much at a main event level. They're not in the main event, but this is such an intense fight that you would pay to see for this to be in the main event. So it built both guys up very high.
Yeah. So our next match of the night was for the trios titles. We had the Disciples of Death, El Barrio del Negro, Trece, and Jesus Christ, what's the third guy's name?
Sinestro
de la Muerte, maybe?
Yes. The Sinister Death.
So, the Disciples of Death against Jesse and the Rippers, Evilise, Son of Havoc, and Angelico. And I'm going to be honest, not a lot going on in this match. The highlight, in my opinion, was the face-off between Evilise and Katrina.
You would be right, because the fans were into it. Mm-hmm. And this is... Vampiro is like he is a duality in this match. Like, he says something about Evilise. He says they're always babying her, like talking about her opposition. Yeah. When they start attacking him, he's like, good. Everyone else always babies her, attack her. And then later on, when she starts brawling with Katrina, he's like,
Meyer brand grills up the value you expect with quality you can taste in every bite. Try our new quarter-pound beef franks, cradled in our own hot dog buns and topped with tangy, no sugar-added ketchup or easy-squeeze whipped salad dressing. Top your burger with our convenient burger-shaped Colby cheese slices. And don't forget the sides, like party-size Ripple potato chips, perfect for scooping, and our own special recipe cool and creamy macaroni salad. Stop into Meyer and discover big taste and bigger savings on Meyer brand.
Discount Tire has just made tire shopping easier. Their touchless experience allows you to buy tires and book your appointment online. Then when you drive in, you can stay safely inside your car as the tires are installed. Discount Tire. Let's get you taken care of.
She's doing her part, because she's like swinging her leg crutch.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what she did to her leg, but she's still in crutches, and I think they wanted to take the titles off them just because she just was still hurt. She can't do much.
Well, I mean, you're right, but like you're at the season finale anyway, so you didn't necessarily have to take the titles off of them. But that being said, I think the biggest reason she's still hurt is because they filmed a lot in a short time period.
Oh, okay. So you think it was still in the short window of time?
I think it was like maybe a month or two, Like I don't think it was some 4 months or whatever it was like on TV. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get you. Sorry, my dog's hacking up a lung in the background. I don't know what she ate.
It's better than her attacking you, man.
I don't know. But that face-off between Ivelisse and Katrina, it was the best part in the match. And it's a shame because Angelico did do another crossbody, not just into the ring, but this time he dove to the floor.
Yes,
and it was insane.
That was absolutely awesome. But I have a problem with the Disciples of Death, the characters, in that the power of them entirely lies in the stone, and it begs the question: why doesn't someone steal the stone from Katrina?
Yeah, it's something someone should do, and the stone was the major focal point of the match because that's how Katrina starts getting got by Ivelisse. Ivelisse stone colds her and is like just ground and pounding her on the ground until Katrina smashes the rock over her head.
Yeah,
I mean Ivelisse was doing the smart thing by taking away the power, but she failed.
Yeah. And not only that, but like the Disciples of Death were pretty much nothing until Katrina lifted the stone.
And they will continue to be that way. But they finally won because they did what everyone else wouldn't do. They went after Ivelisse.
Yes.
They just destroyed her.
Mm-hmm.
They went after the weakest link in the chain link fence.
Yes, absolutely. But, new trios champion, so that is going to be the end of the arc for the trios titles for this season, for what it's worth. Before the main event of tonight's episode, we had a Miller Lite ad, and Vampiro was prone to tell us, Miller Lite is good beer, brother.
Is that what that? Because I didn't understand that thing. They just pulled out some beer and started drinking it and talking about Miller Lite. I'm like, that's cool.
It was purely just ad placement. That's all.
Fair enough.
But hey, next up, main event of the night, Believers Backlash, Fans Revenge.
This is a match I was really looking forward to just because of the storyline. I love the story.
Drago versus Hernandez. I forget because look, I remember the last Real Heels podcast. I remember J-Man, and I can't remember the other guy's name right now. Forgive me. But I saw J-Man. I was like, man, that's cool. I've talked to him before. Like, it was pretty cool that he was on the show. The big dude who was like barely even like moving his arm when they were hitting Hernandez with the belts.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he did a YouTube show in a hot tub. I guess that was a thing for what it's worth.
Okay.
Yeah, I have look, I don't want to offend anybody, but I feel like some of those fans at the ringside, because again, like I said, I'm sure they were told like, hey, here's what you got to do here, but like by and large, these aren't really quote unquote plants. But I feel like a lot of Caucasian Lucha Underground fans have not heard of soap.
Oh no.
And look, I am a Caucasian Lucha Underground fan. I'm the exception here, sir. And so are you, Greg.
Are you trying to say Caucasian and you're just saying it funny?
Yes, I am saying it funny. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Caucasian. I heard it said that way once on, I think, SVU maybe.
All right.
Yeah, for what it's worth. But no, I really like this match. Slander of the Believers aside.
Well, two things that tie back to our previous episode where we're doing predictions for this match. When I was talking about one, remember I was talking about the belts and I said it's kind of dangerous if they're not plants because they could accidentally hit him in the head. And Hernandez will have a red strap mark on his head for like the majority of the match. They get him right in the head. 2, they never did what we thought what I suggested was they beat up all the fans, John Cena and Randy Orton versus the rest of the WWE roster.
Yeah.
And they had these guys, they only picked like a few people, not a few, but they got like 12 people and they surrounded the ring. It wasn't the first row. It was just a select group of people that were on the floor around the ring. But it was still good. And, Drago didn't really do a lot. If you think about it, it was really it came down to the old school, like evil heel, pissing off the fans, trying to prove them wrong. And then the fans getting behind the hero and the hero fighting for the fans. It was really that cliche, but it was fun.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it's one of those, like, look, I like Hernandez in this season. I really did. But chickens had to come home to roost at some point, dude.
And there was a lot of pro-Dragon propaganda dropped by Vampiro. And I don't know if that's a Juggalo thing. But, he was spitting a lot of, like, if you don't believe in dragons, you're an asshole. Like stuff like that. And it's like, wow, man, you're definitely taking a side here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
not
offended.
Good journalism.
No, it's not. It's very biased. I'll say that.
Yes. But hey, that's what most journalism is now.
Well, they said one of the guys looked like he was from Counting Crows, and I didn't catch the guy. But
is that the what's his name? David something? God, I can't remember his name. The singer.
I don't know.
Damn it. That's escaping me. Either way. No, I really enjoyed this match, even though, like I said, old big fella, hot tub guy, he was not. And I'm not saying you got to lay your shots in, but like he was barely moving his arm.
No, someone got Hernandez in the face, and then the rest were kind of just like going through the motions, I guess. Or weren't trying to hurt him, like they weren't doing much. I mean, it was a spectacle, but it was a great spectacle.
Mm-hmm. And I love Drago pulling out the nunchucks, by the way.
Yeah, I liked his safety nunchucks that were in foam and that broke when they were striking Hernandez.
Yes.
And he had to improvise. And there was a few moments, wrestling-wise, where Hernandez and Drago weren't on the same page. Like, they were out of sync. And that happens to Drago specifically a lot. Like, it was happening with Mill. It happened here. And it was just a big, giant killer type of style versus a ninja, which is like, he's like a ninja luchador dragon. And it was still fun, though.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Oh, my God. But Drago eventually puts Hernandez through a table. But that same dive in the ring, and Drago gets the win. So Drago, after not once but twice having matches stolen from him by Hernandez, he gets redemption.
He earned it. I mean, he did lose his opportunity against Puma, I think, in Ultima Lucha 2.
So he lost the career versus title match, which, that stipulation clearly stuck against Prince Puma early on in the season. And then he lost the match to Mil Muertes for the title shot at Ultima Lucha, thanks to Hernandez.
And he was promised a match at Ultima Lucha, so he did get screwed out of that.
Of course he did. I mean, come on, we're talking about, like, of course, look, if Dario Cueto is going to screw anyone, it's going to be the shit dragon.
I mean, yeah. I do stick to my claim that I think he saw something in Drago and he tried to, test him to see if he deserved his respect. And he failed, unfortunately, because he stacked a deck against him. He set him up to fail.
Yeah.
But there were hints that Cueto did want him to win.
Yeah, I suppose. But, okay, so after that, and after the little bit of post-game from the commentary team, we see El Dragon Azteca walking the streets, and he runs into unidentified man. We know who it is, but, the live audience at the time did not. But anyway, he's begging to go into the temple. And Lil Homie says to him, like, hey, no, don't go in there. The prophecy says if you go in there, you're going to die. So don't. Mm-hmm. And El Dragon Azteca, with all the hubris in the world, says, you know what? Like, no, like, I have to go, man. I got to save Lotus. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And it's like, dude, like, come on. Look, The prophecy says don't go in there. So don't do it.
Don't do it. Why did you wait so long to do it? Because she's been in jail for a while, bro.
Yes.
Did he not know?
Yeah.
And they even said something. He said, don't do it. We'll get Puma to check on her. And I don't know if you remember one of our first episodes. I think it was the first episode. We were like, hey, that looks like it's Prince Puma, but this is a story about Azteca. Well, they clarified it here. It was Puma. And they even said Puma brought her to us before. So somehow Puma is involved, and he knew about Dragon Azteca.
Oh my God! Did Prince Puma initially kidnap the Black Lotus?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And even though they're separate tribes, the Dragon and the Puma tribe, somehow I don't know if that was just bad editing, and then this is their way of retconning it. To be honest with you, because that's what it seems like.
Yeah,
they meant to have it as Azteca, but they filmed it with Puma by mistake. Just not thinking it long term. It's not a big deal. I just think it's funny that, we were like, no, it couldn't have been Puma because it wouldn't make sense because he has nothing to do with this storyline. But it was. He just took the girl to him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, folks, that is. Oh, by the way, all the hubris of El Dragon Azteca. We'll see how that turns out. El Dragon Azteca is a stupid man, as Chris Jericho would say. Greg, if you had to grade this, how would you grade this episode of Lucha Underground?
I'd give it a B+.
I would agree. Honestly, I would agree. And I would be tempted to go A-, but that trios match was really disappointing, man.
Yeah, they weren't going to be able to live up to the previous expectations. They just weren't. Unless Angelico jumps off a building, which we don't want him to do.
Yeah.
And, there's only so much you can hide Ivalice's inability to walk.
Yes.
She's like a Zach Galvin out there. And that only can be fun to watch for so long, in my opinion. And as you said, the were they the Disciples of Death?
Yes.
I like them. I like the way they wrestle, but they're not for everybody. And they are.
That. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they're tied to The Rock, so like every match is gonna be them getting their ass kicked until she lifts The Rock, and then magic. And if you hate like The Fiend or Bray Wyatt, you're really gonna hate this.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, again, it begs the question: why doesn't someone try to steal The Rock?
Yeah, The Rock is a big deal here, and I wouldn't say it's a nothing match. It's just they weren't. I think they went into it knowing they weren't gonna live up to expectations, so they just said, we'll just get the belts off.
We'll do what we can, and Helico do a dive, and we'll figure it out along the way.
I mean, there's spots. There's good high spots, but it's just. And when you watch the Ivelisse versus Katrina standoff, it's actually good. Like you get into it, but but she gets hit with a rock and gets pinned.
Yeah, I've never seen a Rock take down someone that hard since Whitney Houston.
Oof.
My apologies. Folks, that is the show. We have several other great shows you can listen to on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. You know what they are. I don't have the list pulled up, so I'm not going to bother because I don't want to offend anybody. But check out the Social Suplex Podcast Network wherever you download your podcast. Of course, we have a solo feed, the Grave Consequences Podcast as well. And hey, thank you for listening, and God bless you.
Hey, Pete, how's that jingle for the 79-cent fountain sodas at Turkey Hill coming along?
All done, boss. Take a listen. 79 cents is all you pay for Turkey Hill sodas every day. 79 cents, large, medium, small. Any flavor, that's your call.
All right, Pete, can you sing plus applicable tax?
Come on, boss. Seriously?
Yep, lawyer said we have to.
For a limited time, get a small, medium, or large fountain soda for just 79 cents at Turkey Hill. Excludes extra large and all frozen drinks.
Plus applicable tax.